Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. All right, so season's over for the Dallas Cowboys, 6-10. We had some chances today, but we had some questionable calls that happened that kind of sank us. Um, it's now time to start autopsying the body, trying to figure out what it is that we have as far as the future and start planning. It's no time to rest. As Stephen Jones says, player acquisition is a 365-day-a-year job. And even while other teams are still playing and the playoffs are going on, you need to start coming up with a plan on fixing this shit. Our defense. Okay, for everybody out, for all of you jackasses out there that say, Andy Dalton, they got a better record with Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton's better. I want you to understand something here. Our defense played better going down the stretch. Our defense actually got 12 takeaways the last 4 games, which is good. But we still have a lot of problems on defense. A lot of problems on defense. I want you to understand that this year's defense gave up 473 points. 473 points. To put that in perspective, the worst season the Dallas Cowboys ever had in points given up was 436. 436. That's a disgrace. That is disgusting. And when you think that the last couple of games, they've been holding people in the 20s or less, that shows you how bad our defense is playing before. Historically, this was one of the worst points giving up defenses in history. Not just for the Cowboys, in the history of the NFL. And that's got to change. When I look at our defense right now, I say, okay, D-Law started out slow, but D-Law started getting it back together. Randy Gregory, he's my other defensive end. Why Randy Gregory hasn't been getting more playing time out there, I don't know. I don't understand that one, but hey, I'm not the coaches. Gallimore, the Canadian bulldozer, a guy who I said we needed to draft last year, is definitely one of my starters. And maybe we'll see where Tristan Hill is when he comes back. He was definitely doing some good things. And another guy that's kind of like Gallimore, who's got a high motor. And if we can get him motivated and keep him healthy, we're okay right there. I'd still like to have another big body to go in there. Maybe we sign Alden Smith. The big problem we have right now is actually a linebacker. And it's kind of crazy because 2 years ago, we were thought to have the best young linebacking core in the NFL. Leighton Vander Esch can't stay healthy. Sean Lee should be in the coaching booth. And Jaylen Smith, Jaylen Smith. Here's the quote from Jaylen Smith from today. He was asked, do you think you'll be back? Exactly what Jaylen Smith said. I mean, watch the film. But for me, it's a blessing to be able to play this game. So many people thought I'd never play again. So for me, I am my worst critic and I am the biggest fan. I'm going to keep battling, keep grinding, but the guy that know football, the guys, let me say it again, but the guys that know football and know our scheme and watch film, I don't have to speak on it. I don't have to speak on it. It's all love. I think what he's saying is, now this is me trying to read between the lines. He's saying, I'm blessed to still be here playing football. I'm my biggest critic. Nobody's harder on me than me. But he says, guys that know football and know our scheme and watch film. So he's saying that not the Monday morning quarterbacks, people who know our scheme, what we're playing. This is a shot at the coaches and watch film. I don't have to say anything about that. It's all love. It's all love. What you're doing is you're saying, my season, hey, it's not me. It's not me. Check with the other people who know the scheme. It's the scheme. It's the coaches. And this is kind of going back to what he said earlier in the season, where he said that, the scheme was too complex. And I love Jaylen Smith. I love that he's the Dallas Cowboys Man of the Year nominee. I love the fact that he's doing all kinds of great things to help, minorities in business. I love his energy. I love his story. The fact that basically he was left for roadkill and came back and played that first year with literally drop foot, which is wearing a brace that's literally a spring to pull your foot back up because his foot didn't work. To come back then the next year and play lights out. I love that. Everybody loves a comeback story. But we are Americans. Boy, my hair is crazy. And it's like Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately? Our linebackers are terrible right now. Terrible. I don't know if Jaylen Smith can be fixed or if Jaylen Smith is playing out of position, if he's not big enough to be that thumper in the middle. If he needs to be a guy who's chasing in pursuit. But what we're getting right now from Jaylen Smith as a linebacker is not good enough. And this is kind of the thing that I hate more than anything else. Like when I hear Carson Wentz is like, I want to trade. When guys say, you know what, I just want to go to a team that I can win a Super Bowl with. I just want to get out of here. It's something that bothers me about that because more than anything else, you need to look inside yourself and say, what can I do? Am I part of the problem? Because every single one of us can do things to better our situation and to better our team situation. So when you say, for me leading this and saying, I'm my worst critic. I keep battling. I keep grinding. That's basically saying there's nothing wrong with me. To turn around and then say, guys that know football and the scheme and watch film, that's deflecting and putting blame on somebody else. So when Carson Wentz basically says, you know what, I just want to go someplace else because, I just can't get along with Doug Peterson. That's not owning your own shit. My wife always says, own your shit. Instead of Carson Wentz looking and saying, you know what, I played terrible and I deserve to be benched. Let me figure out what I can do to fix my situation. Oh, it's Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson's the problem. Well, Doug Peterson wasn't the one who fumbled the ball all those times. Doug Peterson wasn't the one who threw those interceptions. Doug Peterson wasn't the one who was missing wide open players. Doug Peterson wasn't the one holding on to the ball too long. You have to look inside yourself to figure out what you're doing wrong because you will carry those problems elsewhere and they will continue. So, the difference on this is, I'll give you a better example of what not to do versus what to do. You getting that meatball sub? Did you throw up that Italian sub? You didn't throw up that Italian sub? Because we had Italian subs, and I felt like throwing. No, they were too good. They were too good to throw up. I ain't gonna lie to you.
We didn't play that bad.
No, we had some brain farts in there. I'll talk about those later.
What about that? When he shot throwing the flag.
Well, again, there's some questionable things that we did, but I'll deal with that. Right now, I'm dealing with Jaylen Smith. When you think about D-Law, who was getting a lot of the cat calls that said, trade that mother humper, what a wasted contract and things, right? He didn't go through and say, you know what, it's COVID. Or you know what, we got a new coach, the scheme's not good. It's too complex. You know what D-Law did? And this is where I really, D-Law, you my boy. If you ever want Joe Boo to interview you again, let me know. But D-Law said, soft. We're playing soft. We stink. We suck. He owned his shit. And he looked inside himself and he did something about it. He turned his season around. Because that first half of the season, there were no tackles for losses. There weren't sacks and things like that. He looked inside himself and said, let me worry about what I can do to get better. If Jaylen Smith's attitude is, ain't nothing wrong with me, it's those guys, then you got a problem. You got a real problem. And that's definitely trying to throw the coaches under the bus instead of owning your shit. Yeah. So the process begins now on figuring out what kind of team we want to be and who we want to keep here. And there's going to be some tough decisions. And we have to stop making decisions with our heart as opposed to our head. You can't just play somebody because they get paid more money. You need to find dogs out there that want to play and are willing to sacrifice it all on every single play. And until we get that, bro, we're going to have the same results. All right, we're going to be live streaming here in about 2 hours, watching the final regular season game of 2020. Even though it's 2021. I'll see you guys there.